Hey everyone, and welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Corinne Magame33 Sudberg of Team4Star to give our impressions of the recently released Pokémon Sun and Moon demo. So let's get started. Alright Corinne, the demo is out, we've had a chance to play it, and just right off the bat, what are your thoughts on it? Like, what do you think overall about this little taste of Sun and Moon?
Oh my god, it's so awesome. No, it's cool. It's very chilled and laid back, much like Hawaii, you know? Mm-hmm. There's not too much that's thrown at us, but there's just a lot of cool little things to play around with, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far, especially the music.
Yes.
The music is so good.
I love 10 Carat Hills theme.
Yes.
That just...
Yeah, it's nice hearing the new themes, and then also just, like, you know, returning themes, like, you know, when you catch a Pokemon or get an item or something, and you hear the lovely, like, ukulele almost kind of style versions of it.
Yeah.
It's really neat, and probably one of my favorite tunes is definitely the Team Skull kind of rapish thing going on. Very, very Persona kind of ish to me.
A little bit. I know I got a genuine grin on my face when they showed up because I knew they did the hand motions when they were standing around. I did not expect them to go full force and walk while doing the crazy hand motions and then have that theme kick in. It's like, okay, they're silly as hell, but that theme is kind of cool.
Yeah, and just them always, like, forming the skull faces, kind of, like, with their arms and stuff like that. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really can't wait to learn more about the team and stuff.
Mm-hmm. The way they talk, too, like, when they first appeared and they said, are you flew here or are you grew here? I'm like, is that a mistake on their part? And I had like reread it 3 times because I was doing a stream at the time, and I'm like, what the heck? And I was like, that's on purpose. Oh my god, who the hell talks like that? But it's beautiful too, because I can totally see them talking in that way. But
yeah, the music definitely hit me at first.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than the music, like, the gameplay is really good. Nothing too crazy. Little things, like I said, like, even though this is not a big deal, I thought it was weird that we can't sit on anything. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're so used to that in X and Y. Even I happen to inadvertently do it a lot of the times, but then you just approach a branch and you just sort of stare at it. You don't feel. Oddly enough, in Alola, you don't feel like relaxing.
Yeah. I mean, it's really not a big deal. Just maybe it's just like, oh, it's a demo. We don't need to, like, put, like, little tiny details like that in.
I'm not so sure about that, because then we have these other tiny little details, like the whole spinning thing.
Right. Well, maybe they're just like, no sitting, we got spin moves and dancing.
Yeah, I love that little touch where if you, like, I was just sort of, you know, how you mess around sometimes when you're bored or waiting on something and you spin around and see if you can mess with the character, and all of a sudden he started actually doing his little loops or spinning loops or whatever, and I'm like, what the heck? When did that happen? And then I was told by somebody else that if you rapidly press the B button as you're running, he'll actually stumble a little bit. Like, he won't fall over, but he'll, like, trip almost and catch himself.
Maybe this is a secret thing that they're trying to get gamers to be like, no time to sit. You gotta move around and dance. That's why the sit feature is gone.
There you go. Gotta get moving. Gotta go.
Yeah. Speaking of moving, oh my god, do I love riding Tauros.
Yes.
Riding Tauros around the entire city is the funnest thing ever.
Yeah, because let's talk about Ride Pokemon, because our interview with the creators and developers came out today, and we were able to finally reveal that, yes, Ride Pokemon is completely replacing HMs, and we get a taste of that in the demo thanks to Tauros. So, yeah, which do you prefer, Tauros or the HMs?
I mean, honestly, this is kind of a big deal. I kind of do prefer Tauros. It's not exactly like how the Pokemon Ranger thing kind of did, but, like, it's similar to, like, how you had, like, different Pokemon with different abilities that you would use to, like, take out stuff. So this is kind of similar, but it's also great because now we don't have to worry about, like, HM slaves. All the HM slaves are free. Any Pokemon could have the potential to do what they want now and not have to hold down Cut or Fly or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That is huge, and it's just fun because it's more dynamic now, because when you're bashing through all those rocks in that one trail, it just, it's kind of satisfying. And then riding a Tauros, like, who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I did that trial like 10 times just because I was curious if the old man would actually give me something. Maybe I was just like, yeah, like 5 times he doesn't do anything. I'm like, maybe at the 10th, and I just kept doing it. And then after a while, I'm like, this is just fun. I just want to keep doing it and bothering the old man. I mean, he appreciates my visits anyway, so.
Yeah, he needs some company, that's all. Well, actually, something I just thought of is, I guess with Tauros, does that replace the bike as well?
Huh. I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, it might show up, but there is actually, as you probably could tell, you can't move with the D-pad this time around because it's a quick select. And if you go into the Ride Pokemon menu and push that little circle next to it, you can assign it to one of your D-pads. So you can summon the Pokemon even quicker to do the Poke Ride stuff and have it be instantaneous, which is super satisfying. Ride Pokemon are great. This might be one of the best changes they've included in Sun and Moon.
I definitely agree with that. And I can't wait to try out like the Sharpedo stuff, going underwater and diving and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like or just like flying and stuff. Like, I mean, fly and surf weren't actually bad moves to begin with. But, like, now that we don't have to be hindered by HM moves now, it definitely makes things much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now all of a sudden I don't have to worry about having waterfall, dive, surf, all on a single water Pokemon. Taking care of all that. Now exploration isn't going to feel like such a hassle. I think it's going to be the big thing. It's like, oh, cool, I have all this at my fingertips. I don't have to worry about trading out my Pokemon. Let's just go and explore and see what we can go do. Because I'd end up doing that with a lot of games, like, okay, let's gather up all the HM slaves and finally go see what's hidden on all these routes. So, yeah, it's really great. But let's dive into the demo itself. You start out, you get a Pokeball from a guy who forgot to send put his name in there, but if you look at Greninja's stats, it does say the original trainer is Ash, so.
Crazy. I mean, I don't think the new episode has come out yet, so it is a little weird that, like, Ash just kind of gave it to you, when probably in the anime... Sorry for people that don't watch the anime.
Oh, it's fine.
But yeah, the anime is kind of important sometimes with, like, little interesting facts and stuff. I think that, like, Ash is leaving his Greninja because it's got to protect Zygarde. That's what I think.
That might be
Especially after the whole issue with, like, you know, the bad guy almost controlling 2 of them and almost destroying an entire city.
That's a good point. And that would make a lot of sense and actually give him a reason to leave his Pokemon behind. So Ash can never keep his strongest. It's not allowed.
And what's really strange is just the bonding, the bond ability. Just like, I guess it doesn't matter who Greninja bonds with as long as it's a strong bond or whatever.
I guess so. But yeah, what'd you think of Ash-Greninja, using him in battle and seeing what he exactly does?
I thought it was really cool. I was kind of hoping for, like, a cooler water shuriken animation. But, I mean, other than that, he gets, like, a great power boost. Like, it's supposed to be with his special attack, his speed, and attack, right? So, I mean, that's a big freaking deal. I mean... He's basically a monster now. I mean, he was always kind of a monster.
Yeah.
Greninja is definitely one of my favorite Pokemon to use in competitive battling, so...
It's kind of wild to see Water Shuriken with only its 15 power just decimate everything around it.
But I love the cool animation. It's kind of like the show. But yeah, just if it was like a cool, like, giant Water Shuriken just, like, shooting out of his back.
Yeah, because the show does such a great job of him, like that. I have that burned in my memory now of him reaching behind him, grabbing the Water Shuriken, and just whipping it down to just decimate whoever's in his way.
But other than little details, like, I mean, he's a lot of fun to battle with, so...
I'd be curious to see what he'd look like with a Z-move attached.
Yeah, oh yeah. Z-move plus Battle Bond, that would be interesting. Maybe that's when we'll get our giant shuriken.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Or like when he's just like up in the air and just flying with it and then like throwing it. Oh, the potential. The potential.
That'd be so cool.
Otherwise, like battle, I mean, I've tried to play with the other Pokemon that we're given. We got the, sorry with names, like Peck-Peck, the bird.
Pick-a-Peck, yes.
Pick-a-Peck and the Yungoos and Rockruff. And Pikachus. I saw Pikachus this morning, so that was fun playing with some more Pikachus.
Yeah, the Pikachus actually gave us a nice look at how Z-moves work, because I haven't been able to encounter this myself, working on other things.
Yeah, that's what happened. Like, I caught some Pikachus, and then I was just like, oh, I'm curious. And I gave it the crystal that the professor gave me. And it gave me the two options to do the two different Z moves. Based off with Nuzzle and Electro Ball. I was hoping to see like the cool like Pikachu toss animation, but I guess that comes with Thunderbolt or a different type of move.
Yeah, it comes with a different Z crystal. That's sort of like a specific Pikachu only Z crystal, so unfortunately not.
Right. I believe it's already stated the power differences between each one, where Nuzzle is 100 base power and
I think Electro Ball is like 125 or 150.
I think it was 160.
That might be it. I know Thunderbolt is 175, but yeah, that range already, but to see how much it goes up, and that makes a lot of sense to me. It's sort of what I've been predicting for a while now, because when I realized you got the Z ring so early, basically it seems like after you defeat Hala, the first Kahuna, you get your Z ring in the main game. That's around level 15 for your characters, so it would make no sense to have them have an ability, be able to use a 175 power move immediately.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So yeah, that makes sense that like, okay, I have Bubble. It's not going to be as I can use it for Z moves, but it won't be as powerful as when I finally get Surf or Hydro Pump.
Right.
So, man, imagine Hyper Beam.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the Z moves are pretty cool, and I love the animation for the Pikachu's Z move, the Gigavolt. I forget the last part, but yeah, his Pikachu Z move.
Is it a Gigavolt Havoc or
yes,
something?
Gigavolt Havoc, that's it.
Yeah.
Finally seeing the animation play out in full was pretty satisfying, especially, you know, just taking out Plumeria.
Yeah. Other than that, like, I enjoyed the first trial, going through the cave and doing like a Pokemon Snap-ish kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's like where we're gonna get our Pokemon Snap now, because
We gotta get it somewhere.
Nintendo doesn't want to make any more money. Just make a Pokemon Snap game. We all want it.
You had the perfect console with the Wii U, and you didn't make a Pokemon Snap sequel.
But no, it's an interesting way to use that for trials, and I'm hoping you can utilize it for like if you just like just want to explore or just take some interesting pictures of other Pokemon in the wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you notice when you were in town there was that cracked wall, like a little lip at the top that was broken off? I'm not sure if you remember. It probably didn't stick out in any major way, but in the full game, that's actually a Pokefinder spot. So unfortunately, you can't whip out the Pokefinder in anywhere, but you can find specific spots like that in order to take pictures of Pokemon. To what end, I'm not fully sure, but at least it had a purpose.
For enjoyment, yeah. People like taking pictures. Maybe Nintendo will do like a competition or something for like best photos or whatever.
Yeah, I think I really hope it's you can post them on Miiverse, because I think that's where it's going to get its full potential.
Yeah. The Finder, the Rotom Pokedex, whatever thingamabobber. I kind of wish there was more with him, but like I noticed that like if you poke like different corners of him, he does like a cute little animation. Yeah. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, it is. It gives it a little bit more personality, because when I looked down there, I was like, oh, I can either watch the trailer again or pre-order the game, which smart on their part. But I didn't even think of poking him, and then somebody mentioned it, and I was checking it out. I was like, oh, he either gets really happy, or he hides sometimes, or he's sad. It's like, that's adorable. He should be a fun little companion on the trip. Other than that, like, yeah, there was the capture challenge. I did 10 right away, because I figured that was a good number. I ended up trying to get to 20, but nothing happened, sadly. Oh, okay. I was hoping to get, like, maybe another nugget, or I don't know.
I want 2 nuggets. I want all the money. Because that's what it seems to be doing. Like, so far, all the items you receive are all money-based, other than Ash-Greninja, which I guess is a good thing, because, Howley City does have a place to get your hair cut and change your clothes right away, so that's actually pretty cool. They have, like, you're going to have money to customize your trainer right off the bat.
What's also really interesting is, like, for now, even though, like, there's only a few little things after you beat it, there's definitely, like, special events that are going to be happening with different NPC users around the town. Probably going to give you special different items, like the one we got today.
Yeah. We got 10 pretty wings. Yay!
Yay! Like, more like pretty useless.
Yeah, I was like, I saw the pretty wings. I'm like, I forget what these do. So I looked it up. Like, I just like, what do pretty wings do? Because I don't remember using them at all. And I was like, oh, that's why. They're useless. It's even in the text. It's like, thanks? I guess I'll sell them.
Yeah, we could probably sell them, right? Maybe it's just an easier way to just like, oh, here's some easy cash in the beginning.
That's probably it, but I'd laugh if like one of the new Pokemon requires like have it hold a pretty wing and get it up to level 32 and it'll evolve. I'm like, no, are you kidding me?
But some of the events I'm really interested is the cop at the end of the pier.
Yeah.
That said something shady's going to be happening, so maybe we'll get more Team Skull action happening there.
That'd be really cool. It's quite different from the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire demo, where it's basically telling you to just go through the process again and again. This time it's just like here's the self-contained little experience, and then here's some extra events that you can do as much as you want.
It makes me wonder if that's going to be also a thing in the game in general, that maybe there'll be NPC characters saying like, oh, if you come back, on this time, something will happen. So like that could be an interesting thing to add to the gameplay.
Yeah, when I first saw the demo announced, it's like, well, there's no way they're going to let us capture Pokemon, and then they did. I was like, that was a nice surprise to be able to actually catch Yungoos, catch Pick-a-Pack, catch Rockruff, and see what they're all about. We don't get a lot of information about them, just basically their stats, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's not a big deal anyway. But it's also interesting that they will not allow them to evolve, so you can't see what Pick-a-Pack's evolution is.
I was actually trying to do that because, like, it's helpful that he gives you, like, 3 heal balls, because then you can catch them and then, like, play around with them instead of them being, like, so weakened in their state or using up the super potion.
That's what I did. I was on the stream, like, people were like, try to evolve it. And I was getting people telling me it won't evolve, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it anyway. Prove it once and for all that it will not evolve, and nope, unfortunately not. Which, not too surprising, but would have been kind of cool to have that kind of reveal, especially because we did get a new Pokemon revealed in the demo. That Alolan Dugtrio.
Oh, yes.
Which I didn't see. That woman still hasn't appeared for me, where you can do the Poke Finder thing with it.
Mine either. I haven't found her yet either.
So that's kind of annoying. I was actually getting a little frustrated because I'm like, where is this woman? Because I kept getting people yelling at me like, go to the beach. And I'm like, I'm at the beach. She's not here. I'm going back and forth. I even changed the time of day on my system and it didn't work. Which
oh my God.
Also is that does not work to get you those events early. There's some sort of internal thing that the game recognizes. So you can't cheat and get those events early.
Yeah, I think they pretty much stopped that after a certain amount of games that they were dealing with that issue. So,
Which makes sense, but yeah, real quick, let's go ahead and talk about Alolan Dugtrio, which I can't say I was expecting that, but I kind of love it in its own way. I mean, it's basically Dugtrio with hair.
Well, I also noticed that the stones around it are much more solidified around it.
That is true.
It's very brickish, kind of like.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. But we were actually talking about this before we started the discussion, and you actually did some research into like what the heck these guys actually are. What are they based on? Why hair? Anything like that? What could these Alolan forms be all about? So I actually really like your theory. So go ahead and break it down for everybody.
So again, bear in mind, this is a theory, not confirmed. But the internet is a wonderful place, and a lot of people, like, it's fun to have fun with these new Pokemon and just like, oh, they're weird, and like, I'm sure everybody's also noticed the fat-faced Persian going around too, but that'll be for another time. But right now, I mean, as I watched other theory videos, especially from Gajin Goomba, I know I keep plugging his name, but like, he's really awesome, guys. You should check his videos out. I mean, the creators are not just kind of doing stuff just for, shits and giggles. Like, they're putting a lot of thought into this, and they've put in a lot of thought for a lot of previous Pokemon too, like legends and lores, whether it's Japanese folktale or like any kind of other folktale. And like a lot of the new Pokemon that we've been getting recently, especially with the Aloha forms, have been a lot based on either the environment or some type of folktale, in the culture. Mm-hmm. So I decided to dig around and see if there was any folktale involving like little people with maybe some crazy hair or something. And I kind of found something. So, again, bear in mind, this is a theory, but it's kind of interesting. So, not going to give too many details because there's a lot of names I cannot pronounce. as it's been heard from the other podcasts in this one.
Oh yeah, Pokemon pronunciation is always a nightmare.
But I discovered these creatures that were called Menehune, known by a culture called the Emu. They're also known as Pika. There's different names for these guys, but Menehune is the biggest name for it. So there's several different stories with these creatures, but they're basically like little kind of dwarfish or fairy-like creatures that, well, there's two different versions. I'll start with the first version. The first version is they were already originated on the islands, and they're basically like, little creatures that come out at night, and they kind of construct or build things, and they're craftsmen, and yeah, they live in the lush mountains, and they don't like people to see them, and they're kind of like mole-ish-like people,
Mm-hmm.
Another story that I heard from them, though, was that they might have actually existed because the tribes that lived in Hawaii at the time used to call European settlers those names, as they tried to like get them off their land, and they made them go into hiding, scaring them off and stuff, and so they lived in the woods, being hidden from these other tribes and trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm like, what does this got to do with Dugtrio and its crazy hairdo? Well, there's a few little details. One, these creatures usually come out at night because, they don't like to be seen. And Dugtrio is like a mole-ish-like creature, which also doesn't really like to be out in the sunlight too much. It's usually, at least in the show, are seen in like mountains and forests and stuff like that.
And we have the Diglett Cave in the game, so...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're usually hidden from other people. They're also I don't know in the game per se, but in the anime series, they're pretty big builders. I mean, they build huge caves, tunnels, and in the show, they've actually helped like construction workers with like building or grounding stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting with the similarities. I also saw one site that referred to them as like 2 feet high. About like 2 feet high. Sometimes they can get small as 6 inches, and that's about similar sizing to what a Dugtrio and a Diglett is. So like a Dugtrio is about 2 feet 4 inches, and a Diglett is around like kind of like 8-ish. So that's kind of close to the numbers a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, the fact that they're kind of mole-ish and hidden from sight, builders, the heights are a little bit similar. But then what about the hair?
Yeah, I was about to ask, where does the hair come in? Because that's the part that everybody's sort of focusing on.
Yeah, so like the Menehune, if you look them up, there's really not much to them. Like they're like little dwarfish. They sometimes don't really even have hair. But from the one story I told about the European settlers, I kind of was curious and looked that up, and I noticed that like back in the time, most hair color from different regions, North Europeans mostly had blondish kind of hair. So that would kind of be connected a little bit with the hair, tied with a story about how they could have been European settlers that eventually just lived among the land, hidden from the tribes. Like, again, it's a bit of a stretch, but like...
It is, but it also makes sense to me because you say all that, okay, they're mole-ish type people, they're sort of viewed as invasive and gave them this, compared them to the European settlers. The European settlers had the blonde hair. When you look at the Alolan Dugtrio, I could kind of see some of those hairs being on 17th century Europeans or stuff like that. I think the littlest one has like a page boy cut or something similar. So that works too. But here's the interesting thing. You said invasive. We've seen that a lot with with Alola and whatnot. I could totally see, basically what happened is that Dugtrios and Digletts, maybe, I don't know if there's an Alolan Diglett or not.
There is. He's got, like, little strands of hair.
Oh, okay. So, for the Diglett line, we have them burrowing basically to Alola and invading the region itself and then changing because of that. And then they match up with this, I don't know why they get the hair in-game, but that would be the reasoning behind the design of the blonde hair. Which makes a lot of sense to me. I love it.
I also have one more thing that I found, digging deeper on the internet.
Ha! I get it.
I found out that there are a few famous Menehune, including 3 famous ones from a place called Amahu. And their names are Honolulu, Monowa, and Ilu.
Okay.
So... I thought that was kind of interesting that there were 3 famous ones, and they all have, like, different characteristics, but it's basically similar to, like, what the Menehune are. So I was just like, oh, there's 3 famous ones and there's 3 weird little Dugtrio.
Yeah, no, like I said before, I really like this theory. I think it holds a lot of water, and I would not be surprised if we get an official reveal on Alolan Dugtrio that would be the details behind it, or something similar to that where you can sort of get that idea. I really like this theory.
Or the real actual theory is that they're just tourists visiting.
Well, they're still invasive, so
it's just like, bro, where's the surf at? Yeah,
gonna catch some waves. Oh yeah, we almost forgot the one other thing. So based on all this stuff, you actually think you know what type they're going to be along with ground.
Okay, brace yourself.
Holding on. Okay.
Once again, theory, so don't yell at me. But I noticed when I was reading about Menehune, there was a lot of fairy being thrown around. So, while it is a stretch, and while I think it's very weird that hair can give you mystical powers like that, the Pokemon world is a very strange place. And therefore, it could be a ground fairy. Maybe.
I can see that happening. If this is where the lore is all coming from, ground fairy makes sense. Looking at them, I could not tell you what kind of typing they have otherwise, but fairy, at least we have reasoning behind it. And as you said, Pokemon's a weird place. Somehow, Raichu got psychic abilities from eating certain cakes in this region, so...
Yeah, so I mean, if people are okay with that, I don't see why my theory's weird.
Exactly. It's like, nobody really knows how Raichu got psychic abilities. We think it's because it ate these certain sweets. Okay.
Do people still kind of wonder about, like, Executor and stuff? Because I love the theory with that so far, where the tree, for the palm trees, they actually come in 2 different sizes. The stumpy one that we're familiar with, and the actual tall ones. And the reason why they're that tall, especially in Hawaii, is because they've evolved to be that tall, so, like, if the waves come up on shore and stuff, they can avoid that. Especially if they like get like a huge tsunami and stuff, they could survive because they're really tall. As opposed to the stumpy Executor, which usually live in the desert, and that makes sense that they're stumpy because there's not that much water, so they live in groups together. This is also confirmed in the anime too. Like the first time we ever see Executor, there's like Ash and this magician that go out to find some, and they're all in like these giant packs because that's the only way they can get water.
Yeah, I love how much real world connections that Pokemon often has, and again, makes sense, completely works for me, and I genuinely love this theory. Man, there's so many interesting fairy typings this time around. We got a Mimikyu and the Ghost Fairy. We got the potential of Alolan Dugtrio having Ground Fairy. We have Ninetales with Ice Fairy. It's like, man, which fairy type do I pick for my team?
It must be just making up the fact that there weren't too many fairies to begin with, so we gotta raise the bar up.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to just start stuffing them in, kind of like how they're like we introduced Dark and Steel type, and there still really wasn't that many, so we had to start making more and more with each new generation. So yeah, like I said, I really enjoy that theory. But back to the demo itself, I don't think there's really that much more to cover about the demo. I think just overall, I think it was very solid. Introduced people to a lot of things. And real quick before we move on, I just thought of this. I noticed during the totem battle against the Hakamo-O that when it called in Rockruff, my frame rate really took a dive. Like it really felt like it slowed down a bit.
You mentioned that to me. I did not have an issue with that.
Yeah, and I think the reasoning behind that is because I played on the classic 3DS, because that's what I have to use in order to record, stream, whatever, and you were able to play on a new 3DS. So there does seem to be at least a little bit of performance differences between the two systems. I'm not sure how major that's going to be, but something to keep in mind, it seems. I just wanted to make a quick note of that. I mean, it was kind of interesting to see the differences. But yeah, overall, I'd say this is a great demo. Got me interested. Loved every little thing I encountered. The slowdown was the only problem I really had with it, honestly. Did you have any issues other that you can think of?
I can't sit.
You want to sit? I need to rest my feet. It's too much.
Nah, I was fine with everything. I didn't have too many issues.
Did it raise up your hype for the full game in a month?
Oh, Definitely, yeah. I'm very intrigued about the different trials, especially like if they send us on like different search missions or just taking pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a nice way to keep things moving and different. So it's not just you fall in that same pattern of past games, like go to a new place, solve a problem, get to the gym, beat the gym, move on, repeat until you reach the Elite Four.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what's so fascinating is that I'm not sure what the end game is going to be. Like, what happens when you beat the Kahunas? We don't know.
Well, we should go to the special trailer.
Yeah. So I was actually able to do an analysis of that trailer. It was thankfully not too hard, I mean, considering it was only 30 seconds long, but there was a lot stuffed in there, especially in terms of new characters. We had 3 new characters introduced, and the first one was the young girl with the purple bonnet, the long hair, and sort of like this archaeologist wear, who I think is the Kahuna of the Southeast Island, which I've been calling Ula Ula Island, based on the colorings of Oricorio and Hawaiian names. What do you think of this girl, and do you think she actually is a Kahuna?
I'm not sure. She could just be a rancher, but like the fact that they make certain people prominent, usually that means that they are of importance. So it wouldn't be a surprise to me if they were a Kahuna. But then again, like, it's hard to decide because, like, I'm going off your theory, too, about the colors of the islands and stuff like that, and then the different guardians, so, with the different typings and stuff like that, because what it's looking like to be, it's looking like to be red, it's like the colors are red, purple, yellow, and pink, right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, and those are usually the typings of, like, fire, electric, psychic, and ghost. And I mean, she's got a Mudsdale, so I mean, she could be just like a trial person, but I'm not sure. We could be overthinking about what the actual captains are, but I guess that's the point of the video, to just overanalyze it to the point.
Yeah, I mean, could be wrong, could be right, but just look at every little detail, because most of the time with game development, there's thought and reasoning put behind designs. It's not just random placement. So the fact that you meet her at a dock, and the dock seems to be on that eastern island, and the fact that she's with a Mudsdale who's a ground type, and she's wearing these sort of like archaeologist clothes, which maybe she's an archaeologist. Maybe that's the whole reason behind it. Now, I have seen people come out against it, saying that they don't think that she might not be the Kahuna because she's so young, and the description for it...
That does not matter.
Yeah, I guess they're pointing more to the fact that the Olivia bio was noting how she's so young to be Kahuna in the first place, so why make that special when there's one that's even younger than her, I guess is the argument. Which, to be fair, that does make sense, and it did cross my mind, but all the evidence I have so far does point to this girl being the Kahuna of that island. But do you think that's possible, or do you think she might fill another role?
I think it could be possible, but lately, this is the sort of thing I've seen in also in the anime where they kind of give more to the gym leaders in the past and stuff, like giving them more of a character, as in the not like in the previous gens where we kind of just scan by and it's just like they get like a little story, but lately they've been putting more depth in their characters. So like I could possibly see this person being like a Kahuna.
And I generally like the design. It's interesting and different, and I don't know, kind of works.
She's fun. She looks like fun.
She's very cute. And I actually also really like the other person who I think is a Kahuna, which is the guy that's standing on the Wailord boat.
Oh yeah, the big guy with the Pelipper.
Yeah, he has like, I don't know, I think he looks kind of cool, honestly.
That guy I could probably see more as a Kahuna.
He seems very traditional in that way, like what you would think of when you think... Well, when you think of Kahuna, I think of Hala, just because of the whole thing. But yeah, as far as other Kahunas, yeah, I could totally see him being one.
Or he could just be the tough guy running a restaurant, kind of like Sanji's master in One Piece.
He's Zeph.
Yeah.
That'd be cool too. I'd be down with that. Yeah, because a lot of people aren't sure if he's going to be a Kahuna or not. And he does, honestly, like that dang Pelipper messes with my theory so much, where I think that there's going to be the four Kahunas, each with a different type speciality, and then 14 trial captains, each with covering the rest of them. And if he's a water specialist, that sort of screws with me because we already have Lana as a trial captain. I'm like,
right.
So I'm really hoping he's flying base, but who knows?
He could also just be simply because we had a lot of restaurant-based battles in was it X and Y?
I think, yeah, you could go to X and Y and have, like, sit down and, like, have a battle meal.
So, I mean, he could just be continuing the battle meals. I mean, I hope that's not just the case, but, like, it could be something because he has his own restaurant, so...
That would make sense. I could actually see that. It's like, have that boat, you go on a battle boat, and he runs it, and he's, like bringing you into the whole idea of, like, welcome to my battle boat. We're going to sail the seas, and you're going to have a meal and battle our waiters as you wait. And then that'll all continue. So, huh.
I mean, it could also... I mean, do we know if it could fly?
I'm not sure.
The boat?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I didn't see anything about it, but...
I mean, that's a stretch, but, like, I mean, because it's based off of Wailord, and Wailord is the balloon Pokemon. So, like, it could be a funny thing where, like, if he is flying, if your theory is that he is a flying, he could do, like, aerial battles in that ship.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be wild if he does... If the Wailord becomes, like, a blimp.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. I like it. I don't know if it'll happen, but it's like I love these type of theories where you're like, could this happen based on this evidence and all that, piecing things together. I genuinely have no idea, but the possibilities that this guy has is exciting to me. I don't know. We'll definitely see. But yeah, then we finally got this third character in the trailer who is definitely a trial captain because we can see the symbol in her hair. And based on everything surrounding her, she seems to be a ghost type specialist.
Definitely, yeah. It's definitely that. it's a shame though because I mean, even though this is not going to be gyms, we still never had like a dark type gym leader. We've had people in the elite, but we've never had like a dark based gym leader. I don't.
Yeah, think. Which is definitely unfortunate because dark is my favorite type. It's like it never got represented, but oh well.
But ghosts are fun, and I'm sure she'll probably have a few dark types there as well.
Yeah,
so.
Wouldn't be too surprised. I'm not quite sure which Pokemon she'll have. Maybe one we haven't seen yet, considering they haven't shown anything. It's interesting to see her be, in patchwork clothes and spinning around all happy, and yet she's doing the spooky ghost types.
Maybe she's dead.
Maybe this is who that ghost girl was looking for.
Can a ghost be a kahuna? Huh.
Maybe. You beat her and it's like, how did you get that symbol of passing the trial? She's been dead for years. What?
I actually had an interesting theory when we were talking about the islands before and trying to think of what the two remaining ones were. Well, I believe that like if she is a trial captain, she could be on an island if the purple island is called, what was it called, you said?
I think it's Pony Island. Yeah,
Pony. I actually looked up details of different islands, and this one was really interesting because this island is known a lot about their history and their past of native ancestry and culture.
Huh.
And if she does specialize in ghosts, that really ties in together.
That it does. I like it. That'd be really cool. Now, the other possibility to put her on Ula Ula Island is, well, we have an archaeologist possible kahuna. So maybe she's related to that trial captain or working off of that idea.
Right, yeah. Ooh, so exciting.
Yeah.
So many interesting ideas.
And we actually had one more trial captain revealed, well, thanks to the demo, not so much the trailer. And that's the trial captain that's mentioned by the Ace trainer in front of the, I believe, haircut salon.
Oh, yeah.
I believe her name was Kahili. And
yeah,
it mentions how she's a pro golfer and excellent at battling and is off conquering the world. And I'm like, what? What is that all about? But as soon as they said golfer, I'm like, okay, I've been seeing this golf course for months on the map of Alola. What is that all about? And lo and behold, it has to deal with this trial captain and whatever she's all about. But then I started like, okay, what's Kahili all about? And that's when I found that there's a Kahili golf course in Hawaii on Maui, which is the exact island that Akala Island is based on. Wow. And then, of course, Kahili is also that sort of symbol of royalty or just high class within Hawaii, and matching up to that royal family that's mentioned in Meowth with Alolan Meowth. So it was one of those examples of everything kind of coming together and made me think, I think we know our dark specialist trial captain based on all this.
You think she might be dark?
I think so, because if she's royalty, she probably has a connection to Alolan Meowth, who was described by the Pokemon website as being sort of the reason it became dark type is because it was so pampered and spoiled by the Alolan royal family. But when the family collapsed and disappeared, basically the monarchy was destroyed, the Alolan Meowths were forced out into the wild, and that's how they sort of came to be. So Alolan Meowth is pure dark type. We have that connection there, so I do think she's a dark type trial captain.
I just worry because if she is on the part of Maui, that could ruin that, because like Maui is pink, so she might have something related to the psychic. But then again, she could be a surprise one where it's like, we only know that there's 4 islands.
Yeah.
But we don't know if, like, afterwards it's like, oh, there was actually another one, JK.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've gone off the prediction that we'll have 14 trial captains and 4 kahunas. So 1 kahuna for each island main island, since we know there's little offshoots. But let's go off the main island theory. And then 14 trial captains in order to fill out, basically have somebody that specializes in every single type. And I don't know if they've revealed all of them yet, but we know of 7. And that's half of them, so I don't know. I'm honestly not sure how that's going to break down.
Definitely need more info.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, we're only a month out, and I think more information is coming on the 27th. I think that's when the next bit of Pokemon info is coming. Says it's never stopping.
We should make predictions on what we think what will be revealed.
That's What do you think they'll reveal at that point?
I mean, it would be interesting if they revealed, what was her name? Kalali?
Kahili, yes.
Kahili?
Mm-hmm.
It would be interesting. It might be a little too much, but that would be cool if we got to see some insight with her. Otherwise, I'm not sure. Maybe just more new Pokemon. Or something to do with, like, I'm kind of curious about the guy with Pikachu's birthday. If we're going to get, like, a special Pikachu or something with that.
Oh, that'd be cool. Maybe we get that's how we get the special Pikachu Z Crystal.
Or maybe just another Guardian. It would be cool
to see
another Guardian.
I'd love to see another Guardian. I'd love to see if I'm actually right in my predictions of these names of these islands, because that's the thing, we've seen clips of these other islands, but we haven't really focused on them at all. So I'd be curious to see whether they revealed anything about it. Otherwise, I guarantee Alolan Dugtrio and probably Diglett are going to be revealed. Since it's in the demo, there's no way they didn't do that on purpose. So I'm guessing we'll get their official reveal then. Otherwise, I'm not so sure. I don't think it'll be too in-depth, but probably a few new Pokemon, maybe a couple new locations, and maybe Kahili. Yeah.
And maybe a little insight with the starters too.
That could be. Do you think they'll reveal the final evolution?
Well, I think I kind of agreed with the leak that happened in China a long time ago. I kind of was sold on that, and it's seeming like that's going to be in the favor, but I don't want to spoil it too much for people. But it seems like a strong. Yeah,
I mean, that one doesn't feel nearly as much like a spoiler because it just seemed so definitive. Especially when Mallow's in the artwork way before we knew Mallow existed.
It would be cool if we had a chance to battle 3 trainers with the 3 evolutions, but I don't know if they'll play around with them just yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I think the demo did its job quite well. I know a little bit more about the game. I have expectations for how it's going to play and how the changes all work. And I am more excited than ever to get the full version.
Me too, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that covers it for our Sun and Moon demo discussion. So, thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And Corinne, where can they find you at?
Well, yeah, you can find me for now on Megami33 on Twitter. I'm still working on a new YouTube, but you can always watch some quality entertainment on TeamFourStar.com. Plug, plug.
Plug, plug, plug. Yeah, you were recording to that today before we got started, so...
I did. I recorded some new lines.
Ooh, something's going on. Alright, and of course, stay tuned to Game Explained for more on Pokemon and other things gaming too. Until next time, bye.
Aloha.